Remember, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder, treason, and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's always interesting when you get a comment from people on YouTube, and you can pretty much straight away tell those that watch your videos and know what they're talking about, or those that are just, stirring the pot, or maybe just don't understand the channel whatsoever. A really good example is Jermaine Ishmael saying, after my latest video saying about, the problems that this country is facing, what eventually will happen if the government continues not to listen to us, if the government continues to break its contract by first and foremost protecting its own citizens, if the government continues to break that initial contract, that most fundamental of promises, then we're obviously going to have hard times ahead. Jermaine Ishmael, it's an interesting name. He was saying, well, who are you fighting exactly? Please tell me. And well, it's at the moment, that's a little bit more ambiguous, isn't it? Because we're fighting multiple different fronts. It's not just one person or one ideology or one group of people. It's many, many different groups of people that are, for some reason, unable to recognize what's happening. Whether that's willingly or through ignorance, through fear, other reasons, I don't know. I can't speak for them all. I can just tell you what I can see. And I think a lot of you guys can see this as well. We just don't understand how these people think. They do not see reality. They don't recognize, it's very easy to say, oh, well, they don't recognize what's going on. They don't really understand what's going on. And I sound a little bit flippant when I say this, but it gets tiresome, when you're seeing attacks from people constantly against your own people, when you're seeing your government fail you and lie to you openly and flood the country again with millions of people that we never asked for to be here.
Stop that.
And then when you've got the left coming out and defending these people, all the while they're stabbing you and stabbing your children and doing all kinds of horrible things. And they say, for their reasoning behind supporting these people is human rights, guys. Think of them. Think of the poor human rights people, or the poor people coming here that want to, just peacefully stab you. Just think of them. They had a poor life, and now they're in wonderful England, in a bedsit overlooking a main road, and all they do is walk around schools all day. But you've got to think about these people. And I'm lost when it comes to that kind of rationale. I'm sure a lot of you guys are. But who are we fighting? Well, it's an intellectual argument. Right now, it's not physical, apart from when you're defending yourself against said immigrants. And I do believe that just because you were born here and you're some kind of anchor baby, that doesn't make you British, okay? That's another line in the sand that I will not cross, where these people will happily just say, well, yeah, anyone that comes here is just as British as you, just as British as me, even if they've been here 2 seconds, even if they've been here 5 years, even if they've been here 30 years. As long as they were born here, or as long as they've got a passport, even for some people, then they're just as British as you. Again, I do not understand the way that these people think. And a lot of them, I'll be honest, are immigrants themselves. You'll notice this. A lot of these people are actually immigrants, the ones that have this attitude, or they're from a different tribe of people that are not necessarily English first, if you know what I mean. So there's different standards of these grievance makers, and they come from different places. I'm trying to be incredibly diplomatic. They are not all the same, but they do have a characteristic that they all share, and that's that they seem to hate the English. It's very strange. It's a very strange one. Anyway, so Liz Webster is a good example of this. Now, listen to this from Elon Musk, and then we'll talk about this, and then we'll move on to some other examples of why I think this is a problem that needs sorting pretty quick. We need to win this argument very, very quickly, I think. But let's listen to this.
These like lovely sort of small towns in England, Scotland, Ireland, they've been like sort of living their lives quietly. They're like hobbits, frankly. So it's in fact, J.R.R. Tolkien based the hobbits on people he knew in small town England, because they were just like lovely people who like to, smoke their pipe and have nice meals, and everything's pleasant. The hobbits in the Shire. So he was talking about, places like Hertfordshire, like the Shire is around in the Greater London area, Oxfordshire type of thing. But the reason they've been able to enjoy the Shire is because hard men have protected them from the dangers of the world. But since they have almost no exposure to the dangers of the world, they don't realize that they're there until one day, 1,000 people show up in your village of 500 out of nowhere and start raping the kids. This has now happened God knows how many times in Britain.
So you might be... Okay, so you're going to fall on either one of two sides of this argument. You're either going to completely disagree with Elon Musk and think he's a racist for even talking about it, or you're going to go, actually, yeah, he's got a good point. I've lived through this myself. Usually the boomers will fall into the former category by denying the existence of any of this happening, and I'll get to why in a sec. And usually the younger generation are actually, especially my generation, but the new generation, they're growing up a little bit more red-pilled than previous generations who got co-opted into the identitarian hippie utopia that diversity is strength and all that bullshit. The new generation coming through right now, they know what's going on. They're a little bit more red-pilled. They also fall into the category of, this probably isn't a place that I want to live in right now, I'll be honest. It's probably not the best. So the reason that you get people that believe that Elon Musk is lying is because they, like Liz Webster, they don't live among the people that have to deal with this. They don't live among the crime. They don't have to worry about themselves or their children being raped. They don't need to worry about that because they live in 95, 98% white areas. She even admits it herself. I actually live in a small English village. It's total codswallop what Elon Musk is saying. So because she hasn't personally experienced it, it doesn't exist. The orcs do not exist as far as Liz Webster is concerned. We're not hobbits under siege. We're ordinary people. How rude to patronise us like this. It's fear-mongering, dressed up as folklore. I'll be right back. Sorry, my dog was gone mental there because of some fireworks. So anyway, as I was saying, Liz doesn't believe in the orcs because the orcs have not visited her little shire, her little part of the shire yet. And this is the kind of thing that we've got to deal with. People that, because they do not experience it personally, reject your reality. And that is, again, it's very insidious. I think it's pretty evil, in fact. And they do this either out of ignorance or a willful ignorance. And I don't know which one's worse. You can let me know in the comments. But there's also other people that I would say that you need to have an idea of. So let's have a look at some of the people that disagree with Elon Musk. And you can have a good idea of which side you would rather be on. Would you rather be on the side of people that recognize danger and openly admit that, even if this is not real, it's probably worth guarding against it. It's probably worth being prepared for it or doing something to stop it, rather than just saying, you know what, all of that stuff is just nonsense. I'm just going to let everything happen, let everything unfold, and I'm sure it'll just all work out for the best. That's probably going to get you killed. But anyway, Alistair Campbell is calling Elon Musk sick and dangerous. This is the man that lied about the dossier, the Iraq war dossier, saying that Iraq had WMDs, caused the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people. Not him just alone, but yeah, he was involved in that. So this man calling Elon Musk sick and dangerous, that's pretty interesting. We got this guy called Rob B, Peak District yesterday, barely escaped with my life. Again, completely disingenuous. Why don't you go do that down Tower Hamlets? Not the same, is it? Charles Perry. I grew up near Elon Musk in South Africa. I am his age, now living in a small English village too, married to an English wife. Musk is talking nonsense and needs to cease and desist. Again, living in a small English village. So it doesn't exist. Again, go live in Tower Hamlets or Elephant Castle. Go live in Birmingham and then say that. Send your white child to an all-Muslim Pakistani school. You want to do that? All right, then talk about it and see if it's happening. The Geek Gene. Lord of the Rings was written by Tolkien, a mythology for the English, something he believed they had lost. The hobbits represented the quintessential Englishman. Elon is correct. You cannot escape it, simply because Saruman has yet to scour your part of the Shire. Very, very nicely said. And this is the thing, guys. We're fighting these people because it's not just an intellectual conversation. It's not an intellectual thought experiment, right? These people would like to think it is, but the rest of the country have to live next to the people that are being forced upon us. When he says here, it's Tolkien, it was a mythology for the English and something he believed they had lost. I grew up through the 1980s and my childhood, my informative years were through the 90s. That's when I was more aware of my surroundings and more aware of the world. And I saw things change after 1997. It went from a country that was really safe, guys. You want to go back in time, right? And look at the news clippings from the months of, let's say, a random 1991, right? Go back to November 1991, have a look at the main news stories, and then have a look at the main news stories now. I'm betting right now that you won't find a single murder. You won't find a single story of anyone getting stabbed, raped, or murdered in 1991 in the month of November. I bet you can find a story of probably all three of those things today. There's a big difference between the world that we had and the world that we have now. And yes, if you live in a part of the Shire that is still untouched by the scourge of the orcs, well, you might not believe it. But the rest of the country, we have to live it daily. It's part of daily existence, right? So again, I don't know whether people are doing this because they're being disingenuous, because they're openly lying, because they're part of the attack against this country. We are not hobbits, we're lions. Yeah, sure, not yet though. We'll get there. There's more. If there were any British people still considering Tesla, I think this was really helpful. There is something seriously wrong with this person. That's not an argument, and that's an interesting last name. You see, they're either from a different tribe, or they're foreigners themselves, or they hate the country. And they all fall into those ones. Fascist tech bro. Sure, mate. You don't even know what a fascist is. I also live in a small English village. Elon knows fuck all about us, and he's actively trying to lie to you all, the effing twat. I also live in a small English village. He's also a foreigner. Just can't make it up, guys. Oh, it's Elon Musk talking bollocks again to stir up race hate. What an absolute psychopathic wank spanner. Lay off the ketamine, kids. Well, this is the thing. Another one, guys. I don't know. He doesn't really... He's an anti-fascist, so he's a fascist. So this one's a woke lefty. I mean, just listen to the way they describe themselves. They're so unaware of themselves. Is it self-awareness? They have no self-awareness of what they're saying whatsoever. So yeah, every time I see anti-fascist, you just need to change that language around, because as soon as the left puts an anti in front of something, it's what they actually are. Anti-fascist, it's a fascist. Again, they don't really know what that means though. But you see the patterns, guys. I too am from a small town surrounded by smaller villages. Elon Musk is utterly deranged to describe the situation in Britain the way that he does. So all of these people, guys, they're all either just full of shit, openly lying to you. We cannot let him stoke up hatred and division in this country unchecked. This is just after a guy who was not British got on a train and stabbed up 10 people. This is mental. And these guys are literally saying, I am from a small village, 98% white. This isn't happening. This is not happening. This is who we're fighting against, guys. We're fighting against these liars, these disingenuous traitors, these quislings, these people who shouldn't have a voice. If they are talking about inner cities and they live in a tiny little village, they should probably just shut the fuck up, I'll be honest. Because it makes them look retarded, or like they're liars, or like they're doing it on purpose. So right now, I'll be honest, guys, we're not in a pitched battle yet, thankfully. The government has time to reverse course and actually uphold their social contract. The main reason for electing a government is to protect its citizens. Once they start failing that, they are not fit for purpose. That government is no longer legitimate. Okay? They're not a legitimate government. They are causing people harm. They are bringing them in this country on purpose, and they're murdering us. That is not a government, okay? That is a insurrection. I don't know what the hell that is, but they're not protecting the people. So our enemies are legion. They're everywhere. They're the people that lie openly, even though they admit that they're not familiar with the circumstances that they're talking about. In fact, they're completely ignoring them and then gaslighting everyone, using shaming tactics to shut the fuck up about the problem. Otherwise, you're a racist. And if you talk about it, you're a crazy fascist. So, who are we fighting? Almost everyone, guys. Almost everyone that hates this country, lies about the truth, tries to gaslight you, tries to demean your lived experience, which is something I don't like saying, but let's use the leftist terms. They don't have the lived experience of living around these people and having to suffer living around them. And yet they will get on social media and call you a racist and God knows what else, because you don't want to be stabbed up on a train. See you later, guys.
Under the British Constitution,
a constitution that's 800 years old,
the primacy of Parliament should be what's the most important.
That history, that astonishing history of England and then Britain from the 13th century, from Magna Carta onwards.
The country of Magna Carta, of the habeas corpus, of the Bill of Rights.
Post-Civil War, 1689 Bill of Rights.
The events of 1689 lead to the most explosive transformation, I think, in human history.
Our Constitution actually worked incredibly well. Parliament is the elected assembly, wielding sovereign power, with the monarch as the titular head, and the Lords providing continuity and guidance. This formula served us well until 1997.
The latest stuff is, they're just things of the moment that have got to be got rid of. We've to repeal, to have a great repeal act.
A new Great Reform Act. One that leaves the ECHR, repeals Tony Blair's Human Rights Act.
Look at every law, and unless there's a reason for it, repeal it.
What I call the Great Repeal Act.
The Great Repeal Act.
Great Repeal Act.
The Great Repeal Act.
That sorts the men from the boys.
The Great Repeal Act followed by national restoration. The Great Repeal Act can be followed by overdue national restoration.
I am for finishing the job that we started with Brexit and restoring to our people and our parliament its sovereignty.
To restore our unique country through a great repeal act.
defending our own freedoms and liberties.
We need a restoration.
Damaging legislation must be repealed, the size of the state drastically reduced, and total power must be returned to Parliament, who are accountable only to the electorate. I love Britain, I really do. We've got the best people in the world.
The hard-working men and women of this country who make Britain great and can make her greater still.
Do the best for the British people. We need a government that will put us first, protect our interests, and get the hell out of our way.
We want our country back.
Together, let's take a stand for the country that we love.
Let's make Great Britain great again.